Dinosaur Beach by Keith Laumer. First published as a novella or novelette, analog August 1969. Expanded to a more complex novel by Laumer, copyright 1971, and published by Scribner's, then DAW in 1972. Well, I first read this great time story by Keith Laumer in August 1969 in this analog magazine. The magazine has quite a few novelettes in it that month. Here they are. And The Time Sweepers is the second one in the magazine. And it does have an illustration for the Time Sweepers, but it in no way seems to represent what I think Agent Ravel looks like in the story. The Time Sweepers is a much shorter version and really quite good as well. And it contains most of the elements in the novel. So the novel came out in 1971, roughly 2 years later, and it was known as Dinosaur Beach. And the illustration here on the novel is not bad. This clearly looks like the time station there on Dinosaur Beach, and that is supposed to be Ravel approaching, which happens in the story across the beach. Now, I don't think that guy looks a thing like Agent Ravel. I never did, so I'm not sure exactly what was going on there. But the DAW version published in 72, Dinosaur Beach, does have an illustration of Agent Ravel and Lisa/Malia Gale, the time agents, and I think that's a little more accurate. Now, this one was published 1971. I thought it was 1972. 1971 by DAW. Nope, I was right, 1972. The first printing by DAW was September 1972. So there we go. And so I will also include a review by David Weber in my written review that will go with this on my site. And David Weber, if you follow that link, it goes to the Bay and Book site. And he writes what it's like to read something by Keith Laumer, and I think he does it very well, probably better than I can. So I thought I would present this great Laumer as Science Officer Spock of the Enterprise. So I have on my little Star Trek science shirt, or possibly Nexialist Science Officer Eliott Grosvenor of the Space Beagle, since I think they are essentially one and the same person. This highly entertaining and engaging story, written with typical Laumer wit, sarcasm, and a little Retief type humor, Captain Laumer opens the novel with his main character, Nexx time service agent Igor Ravel, or Ravel. Ravel is trying to unravel the mess that the human race has made out of time. Now, he's on an assignment in 1930s America. Agent Ravel has no idea who and what he is at this time, being sent to the mission with a mind wipe for protection against capture. He is living life and recently married to Lisa, and they are relaxing for the evening. At this moment, the mission begins to unfold and his false world begins to dissolve as he travels to an appointment, and his training begins shedding his protective amnesia. Reality closes in this evening as violence, time paradoxes, time loops, time scheming by multiple parties are ongoing. AIs, both good and bad, get involved. Ravel is whisked away in non-stop attempts by multiple human heirs attempting to salvage a timeline where the human race does not disappear due to our own stupidity and arrogance. Due to human time meddling and human incapacity to admit their timelines are dead ends, nothing is really being accomplished, though. There are multiple surprises and a tremendous amount of reveals as to who and what people are, and the time loops and paradoxes do actually make sense. You just have to kind of read them closely. A time cop police procedural, Laumer out PKD's Philip K. Dick, delivering a complete tour de force on memory, identity, perspective, and reality. Laumer, a longtime soldier and U.S. Foreign Service member, also delivers a relationship and marriage counseling manual for those folks who have faced long deployments. As Ravel meets Lisa through the millennia, she has been renamed Melia Gale, spelled Mellia, which is actually the same number of letters as me, Lisa, which I think he's saying. Now, Ravel and Melia, try to adapt to their long times apart, and Melia doesn't really even remember Ravel. He does remember her because of a situation when he's returning from the mission. He does not go through a mind wipe as Dinosaur Beach time station is destroyed, and that begins their big adventure. Now, they do try to adapt anyway, and it doesn't really work out well, but you'll have to read the book. Keep in mind that Ravel himself has died hundreds of times in dead-end time loops by the end of the novel. Now, this does happen to Melia once, and the book is a little rough. So the dead-end time loops are causing all kinds of problems. But at any rate, Laumer wastes no time making his points and wastes none of your time either. Written 10 years later, this novel may have been 200 pages longer. The main characters are very decent and dedicated people. You are really able to identify with them and are interested in seeing them succeed. They go through a lot in their attempts to save the human race. And I don't want to give out any spoilers or anything, but rest assured, Laumer does not leave anything wanting at the end of the story. Now this, Weber points out in his essay on Laumer, you may feel a sense of loss when the book ends, which I do every time I read this book. These are nice people. Laumer's last great work before the stroke that robbed us all. Now I will include a link so you can read what David Weber has to say. And I would really recommend reading this short book. It packs a lot in, I believe it's about 150 pages. It is nonstop action, nonstop philosophy, nonstop time travel paradoxes and time loops. And he really does try to explain how to maintain your marriage while you're being deployed. So I like the book a lot, and I hope everybody would have a chance to give it a read. Thanks a lot.